the course that they're studying, is it something that they're studying that is directly linked to a job? If most people could be offered flexibility versus 9 to 5, I actually think most people will say, give me flexibility. I want to work at my own time. Know your child. Some of them, they know exactly what they want, and in others, they need more help.
Anyone going for computer science, come and listen to this.
The first thing is really budgeting. And I cannot emphasize that enough.
Now we need to sit down. What are they good at? You understand? Because some children, they don't even know they are good at something until when you start mentoring them.
If we go back to the Industrial Revolution, in the 18th century, before everybody was like farmers, like manual labor, agrarian society, and it's technologies that brought factories that we can actually spurred the society that we have today.
Hi everyone, my name is Bola Mure. Welcome to Wisdom for Exploit. Today I have with me a wonderful lady. Before I introduce my guest, please listen to this important announcement. Hit on that subscribe button to stay updated on new videos and podcasts. Thank you. Today with me is Miss Gladys Williams. Gladys has a diverse business operation background, including experience in advertising, events, technology. Gladys exhibits a strong commitment to both her professional pursuits and her religion and community involvement. Her roles include Sunday school teacher at our church and a passionate advocate for workplace ministry. She currently serves as the leader of the London Christian Fellowship at our workplace, fostering a setting for faith-based discussion and mutual support among colleagues. Gladys earned a Bachelor of Business Administration and Sociology from Ashton University and a Master of Theological Studies from Nations University. Our current residence is London, where she actively integrates her professional and spiritual passion into her work with others. Gladys, I'm happy to have you on this talk show this wonderful morning.
Thank you.
How are you today?
By God's grace, thank you. It's an honor to be on this talk show with you as well. I've seen so many of your videos on your shows, and such a privilege to have this conversation with you. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome, Gladys. You're welcome. Thank you for your time. Yeah, today, Gladys, we shall be talking about careers choices. And our focus is going to be me and my career. Me and my career. So, could you elaborate on the definition of a career?
Yeah, absolutely. And I was thinking about this as well, like what a career is. I think ultimately at a high level, like we can say a career for each person is something that is very innate to you. I believe that it is based on your passion, your experiences, your educational background, your goals, and all of these things are combined to help you meet your longer term goal. If we take the opposite, that we can say a job is something that, you are doing maybe as a short term to help you meet your immediate goals. I need to pay for my school fees. I need to save enough money to pay my bills. And you can sort of do that in parallel with your career. But your career is something that you see longer term in whichever vocation that is. And it combines all of these elements. But it's based on that longer term goal that you want to achieve. Now, your job can also be linked to your career. So, for example, if you want to work in, the head office of a retail company, Tesco and M&S, working on a shop floor could be the immediate job, but you're building networks, relationships to help you in that long-term career to get into head office. But essentially, the career is something that is so much more longer term, where your values, your passion, your experience are working to combine to help you achieve your long-term goals. So that's how I understand it.
Well done. That's really good. Yeah, the other question for you is, what career guidance is appropriate for young adults currently in university and those entering in September 2025? I know now, I think the application is going on. Next week is the deadline. So a lot of kids are still thinking, oh, I don't really know what you want to do, even beyond, though, not only September 2025 and beyond. So
Yeah.
what should they be focusing on, especially in this new age, especially this new age of technology? I know you are a guru in tech.
Apart from they are true gurus in tech, I'm still catching up and learning and trying to stay abreast of it. But I think first thing that is important for students and prospective students to ask, are you, the course that they're studying, is it something that they're studying that is directly linked to a job? Is it a hard skill that they are studying that is directly linked to a job? Or if they don't know, is it something that is based on an interest or strength there? So that's the first kind of separation that I would have as I'm thinking about the answer to this question. Then if you know that you want to get into a profession, law, accounting, or whatever it may be, I think before you start applying, it is important to think about, okay, what kind of jobs do I want to do? And then look actively as if, fast forward, 3 or 4 years later, if I were to be in a position now to be looking for a job and you actually start looking for jobs, so go on job sites, LinkedIn, Indeed, and a few others, and look at the job description. What are prospective roles and employers looking for right now? Apart from just the experience, what kind of technological experience or background are they looking for? What kind of soft skills and hard skills are they looking for? And then match that with the education that you're pursuing and seeing, look, am I able to take some of these off so that by the time that I finish uni, I have these skills that I can get? Many first-time employers, they might have grad schemes, or they might say, I want an apprenticeship, or I want you to have done that. And if your immediate course doesn't offer that, find ways as part of your education or your educational career to grab those skills, to acquire those skills, so that by the time that you have finished, you're already equipped in that way. So it's very important to fast forward yourself and say, look, once I'm in that position, what are they looking for? And make sure that as part of your education, you are learning those skills and acquiring those yourself. And then for the others who are not necessarily so sure yet, if you are maybe studying something that is just of interest to you, but you don't know where it's going to take you, such as art or history, because they are, like, we have to be very honest, not everybody is clear or knows exactly what they want to do. And university, while it is very, very expensive, it is also a very pivotal place to learn soft skills as well, independence, working with others, managing finance. And so that is okay too if you're going to university but you don't know what you want to do after, but you're studying a course that that you enjoy. I think it is important that you just research, like as yourself, like go to like trade shows, go to conferences of things that are of interest to you, and start building your work as well. Secondly, look at yourself. What are your strengths? What are your interests? And work through sort of maybe even a process of elimination. Okay, I don't like this, but I enjoy this. I don't like these skills, but I enjoy this. And work through sort of backwards, so you have a smaller view of the kind of roles that you like to do. And then therefore going to that, the first advice that I gave, which is, look, what are they looking for? Even people who work in those roles, what skills and experience have they had? Just so that you're positioning yourself irrespective to have to be well positioned to get a job when you're done.
Wow, that's really good. You really covered the ground for that. Because actually, my next question for you is that what about those who are undecided about the major but still want to go to university?
Yeah. So. Yeah, please go.
Yes, yeah, I've said that because actually you mentioned that now that you see, because I think you've really covered a little bit about that, what you said, that your answer to my first question. Because some people that are undecided, they want to go to university. Yes, my mates are going, my friends are going to uni. Me too, I want to wear that, because I've seen a friend, they say, what, I don't even care. I want to wear that gown. They said they want to wear that gown. I want to wear that gown, that hat, and they say, yes, I went to university.
Yeah.
So, but at the end of the day, they go to university. I know you've said some few things that, what are your strengths? What do you like doing? You understand? Because at the end of the day, they might even go to university, but now they see that, oh, I've wasted 3 years. I've wasted so much money. And now, what exactly am I up to? What do I love doing?
Exactly. That is it's so important. And I think it is more common, in honesty, I think it's a lot more common with a lot of people. Many people may not, be sure or know exactly you know, what it is that they want to do. So I think we have to acknowledge that, you know, parents, mentors, and everything like that. And a university, as we know, is very expensive, and it's going to continue to get very expensive. And so it's important that you sort of weigh the cost and the benefit of going to university and what you want to get away. Personally, from my personal point of view, I think that you know, there's a lot that we learn from university, like not just the skill in itself, but like I said, the independence that you learn working with other people outside of your immediate background, those that you have grown up with as well. Like, it was so important to me when I started work, actually, the things that I learned from uni, because I grew up in sort of the bubble of kind of London, North London, and then got outside and meeting others. So I learned so much in that way. But I would say that once those have done sort of like is it really worth it, looking at how expensive it is and looking at the sort of things that you want to do as well. Are there other ways, you know, that you can still acquire those skills without necessarily going to uni or not? One thing that I see a lot that I'd really recommend is they have these like career quizzes for students. Where you can go in and they ask you, oh, you know, what are your strengths? What do you enjoy doing? Are you into the creative? Are you into an analytical? And then they'll come up with a few like prospective jobs you can do after and going to university or not. So that's a way of sort of helping and knowing that. But I think that if you are still undecided, uni is very important. You can learn a lot from it, but you have to do that assessment of whether those soft skills are worth the price of it. And the last thing I'd say with this, and I know that we are believers and children of God, like prayer is so important. It is, I cannot explain how important it is that as you are, you know, considering this, that you are really leaving it to God. You are asking God, look, God, this is the desire, you know, have you put this desire in my heart? As it, you know, says in Psalm 37:4, you know, that delight in yourself in the Lord and he will give you the desires of your heart. If this is the desire that God, you have given me, what do you want me to do with it? Or do you want me to go through route A and route B? Praying, and God will guide you. That was my experience. I was actually pursuing something so different that God wanted me to do, and I kept hitting closed doors and I couldn't understand. And so once I just gave it up to God, I said, you know what, God, have your way, God, because I don't know what you want me to. And as soon as I gave it up to him, it's like the Red Sea cleared. I'm not even exaggerating. I'm really not exaggerating. It became so clear the university God wanted me to go to and what he wanted me to study. And I thank God so much, because things not easy, but they have gone in a stage that I know that God has been really with me. So it's so important that you seek God, seek him for where he wants you to be, and let him guide you. And you will see that things will go in the way that he wants you to.
Wow, that's really profound. That's really good, because yeah, you're right, because it's only God that can direct us to the right path. Because sometimes when we push things so much, and when we look at sometimes not in this age, it's been even in our age as well, because my friend is doing this, I want to do it as well. You understand? Because my uncle daughter did that, my brother this thing, I can do that myself. So it's better just to let God direct you and do what you want to do, and you think that, yeah, this is what I'm good at. Yeah, I think I did that, but my daughter is Ghana. So I look at her, I say, Mommy, what is God saying? What is God saying? And I said, what do you want to do? Then I look at her and I said, this is what you're good at. This is what you're good at. And I think you're really right when you said mentoring as well is very good. When we have people mentoring us or putting us into that direction rather than forcing them that, no, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. Is not really right. So it's like mentoring and look at the strength of that particular person. I remember, was it late last year, a guy walked into our office and he just finished his not GCSE, A level. I was like, oh, you're going to uni? And he said, yes, I'm going to uni, but I don't know what I want to do. Then I look at him, I look at him. Because if I see you for a few minutes, I know what you're good at.
Yes.
And I look at him and said, why can't you go for marketing? And he said, you know what, I've been thinking about that.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't know maybe you really go for it. So sometimes good mentoring and people encouraging people. So that's really nice. That's really nice. Then the other question, Gladys, is concerning current technological advancements that are supplanting human employment. What
Yeah.
are the challenges?
Yeah. Yeah, this is such an interesting. It is such an interesting topic, and I
Mm,
think first of all the speed, and we'll talk about technology in itself, and then I think the different types of technology. AI, not I
mm,
know we'll talk about that after. But when we think about technology, I think it's the speed of the advancement
mm.
is really surpassing what many of us can even comprehend, or even sort of start to understand.
More.
So the speed of the potential of technology is
Mm,
really interesting. So it is really interesting to see now as technology, the advancement is really growing. I think the deployment in a lot of companies is it's not as fast. Right. So when we look at things like our banks and our retail stores, they've replaced a lot of like tills where people would have worked with like
yeah.
the machines. Yeah.
So,
But has been a progressive. It's not like, oh, one day we wake up and then everything changed. These
mhm,
things are progressive. And so I think what is interesting is that we can see the long view. But then for the companies and organizations to actually deploy it is now starting, but it's a little bit slower, which means that it buys us time to
mm,
start. What are the skills that are required? Whoever is behind building these machines, they are
mhm,
they are so rich right now. They are so happy because they have seen the trends and they have built it so that they're ahead of it. So I think that it's interesting that knowing the opportunities that this can bring and therefore being ahead of it. And so I do want to say that there's every company, like organizations, technology, I would say, because I
mm.
work in tech right now, really has created many opportunities for many people.
Yeah, yeah.
It's very important that we are acquiring the knowledge of what these technologies are. And if we go back, we think this is new and this is happening right now. It is not. If we go back to the Industrial Revolution, in the 18th century, before people were, everybody was like farmers, like manual labor, agrarian society, and
Mm,
it's technologies that brought factories that we can actually spurred the society that we have today. And because of that, it's created new jobs and it's created new opportunities and it's actually created and facilitated the lives that we're living in, from textile making to iron making to cars to food. And maybe at that time, like us, we were saying, oh, these factories, they're going to take humans away. We're not going to have any jobs. But actually, it created more jobs and more opportunities for people to work. So it's not just women that were home, everybody was working. So
mm,
actually, I really do want to believe that as long as we are knowledgeable about the technology that is coming, actually, it
mm.
will create jobs because we are researching what is necessary. Because technology cannot just build on its own. You'll still need great minds to think about that. And so it creates opportunities for us. We have to try and see it in that way. But it's not going to just take over. It's taking time for it to do that. So we should be thinking about what these roles are.
Mm. Yeah, well done. Well done. Yeah. Well done. That's really good though. Wow. That means we need to be thinking back into all those year 19, shall we
Yeah.
say 1970s, 60s and all those times where those machines have been. Yeah.
Uh,
Wow, that's really good.
it's interesting.
Everybody just
It
back to memory lane. Back
yeah.
to memory lane. Yeah, because we don't. I don't think we really think about this. We just look at what is happening now. That no, everything is just replacing human effort and all those stuff. Wow, that's really good. That's really good. So, does higher education still matter when jobs are becoming automated? How can we stay motivated as AI rapidly advances?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, this is such an interesting topic. So higher education I think it's university, right? But it's also, higher, like different degrees that can come in different qualifications and vocations. I actually really do believe that it does matter. And learning and understanding the role that AI is going to play in our future is so important. I actually think it's more important now to acquire knowledge as it relates to technology in the future. And the way that we can do that is being intentional about how we study and what we study about what AI is going to play. I think it is inexcusable to not have, especially when you're young, you're going to university, even think about what kind of roles that like AI is going to play, or, it's very, very important that we think about that. So I think the first thing is that, yes, it is, higher education is very important because knowledge acquisition in this time that we are in is so key to staying ahead of the trend and to know how AI is going to not take over, but complement or supplement the jobs that we're in. So I think that if for those who are sort of questioning or thinking, especially those who even have younger children, if you're thinking about, oh, which role I want to do, the first thing to think about is how will AI be prevalent in this industry or in this role, because it is very different roles in very different industries. So if you're working maybe as an accountant or you want to do an accountancy job, what AI would do many of the calculations that maybe would have done on computers, right? Yeah. The roles that they'll be looking for within accountancy, something that's a little bit more senior, maybe more consultative, maybe more relationship management, because we have a system that will do the calculations. Example. So but knowing for whatever industry, same thing with doctors, with engineering, like what role will AI play within these industries? And therefore, how can I kind of get ahead of that? So that you're seeing yourself in a role that AI itself is doing. Secondly, the best position to be in is, first of all, learn about the AI, but learn how to use the tools. Yeah. So build an AI, open AI. There are a lot of tools that are now open to people who maybe have that technology or who are sort of more savvy in that sense, so that you are able to use the tools, the AI tools, that if you want to get into designing, you're using the AI tools to do the designing instead of being a designer, You want to, get into a tool you want to get into coding, like basic coding, learn the tools, the AI tools that do the coding so that you are prone to technology as opposed to, being taken over by that technology. I think learning how to use those tools is so important, because then you are the ones who are building and learning, who are building the future. That's the position to be. And a lot of different courses in uni, they obviously do a lot of AI, but they have like LinkedIn courses, Udemy courses, where you can learn a lot of these things that will help to direct you onto the path. And you can pursue that. So there are some jobs that are safe from AI. If this is something that is too much for you to think about, relationship type jobs, lawyers, therapists, plumbers, social workers, psychiatrists, builders, all of these, there will always be roles that AI can never take over.
Yes, sure.
Something that you're more sort of passionate about, you don't even want to go there, that is okay. But also, I think what is more exciting is the jobs that AI will bring, right? And then getting ahead of that, AI engineers, cybersecurity, AI specialists, all of these things. Then when, you're thinking about these sort of roles, you're positioning yourself for longevity in this time, in this world that we are in. So higher education is important, but it doesn't have to be traditional higher education. As long as you are learning and you're acquiring these skills around what the future holds and you're putting yourself behind it. Through, I think that's really important.
So with the way you explain things, thank you for that anyway. With the way you explain this now, what about people like, okay, let's say for about young adults going to study computer science? Because we know that computer science now, so many things about computing now is AI this, AI that. So is there any prospect for those going into that particular career in future?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's kind of to the point that I was making earlier, that with AI, it becomes better with time, and as a term they use, sort of training the model. So it starts low, which is like, what is the basic computer science, like let's say even your solutions architect or your data engineer or data science. What are the basic roles? This is probably where AI is going to start right now. And so as you think about, and then, within these roles, they're progressive, they're different levels, they're different levels of engineers, they're different levels of data scientists. And the way AI is sort of starting now is that it's not right now that it's going to go and be the most advanced, it takes time to train the model to get to where it is. So it is still important that you learn, like if this is an industry that you're interested in or vocation, I think it is very, very important, more so computer science engineering, knowing how AI, to the point I was making earlier, will replace certain more maybe basic or maybe more foundational roles, or not even advanced things, but knowing the role that AI will play and seeing like what will always be the human need. And I think the goal again is, when you're learning computer science, is computer science with AI specialism, so that you are also being part of that mind that is creating the technology that will power the AI needs that we have. So adding AI, I think, to your vocation, to your education is important, still within what you are pursuing. I think that's how I would think about it.
Wow, that's really good though. So anyone going for computer science, come and listen to this what we're saying. Yeah, I got a friend's son going to computer science and few people. So
Yeah.
yeah, they need to listen to this. They need to. It's
Yeah.
very important. Thank you for that, Gladys. So, what about people that do not believe or enjoy 9 to 5 job anymore? Because even the nurses in the hospital now,
Yeah.
most of them don't really want to be so committed. They just want to go through bank. They call it bank now, whereby you work at your own time. So if they call me today, if I want to work, if I don't want to work, I stay at home. What about people in the hospital? They are crying for help. You understand? So, so what about people even in workplace? Everybody wants to do trading online and get the money. And now there are still some job we still have to go to the office 9 to 5. So what about people that doesn't believe or enjoy 9 to 5 job anymore? What can we say about that?
I think, to be honest with you, like if most people could be offered flexibility versus 9 to 5, I actually think most people will say, "Give me flexibility. I want to work at my own time."
Yeah.
Like if I had the option, I don't want to work. I would love to work, my free time, maybe a few hours here and there.
Yeah.
I think for society to sort of work in that way, we need that. That 9 to 5 is established, but for those who don't want to, again, I think we are now in a world where our service doesn't revolve around 9 to 5. Like, for example, if I need healthcare, my job is 9 to 5. So if the healthcare is 9 to 5, I cannot get healthcare. Like I have to take time out of work. So I think like some kind of flexible working is important as well. But I'd say that, look, first of all, the questions I would ask is like, do you have, what is your passion? Can this passion or this desire that you have, can it fund your lifestyle? Because it may not be the flexibility, may not give you like the same income maybe that you had. It could be more, it could be less, but this is the things that you have to think about. Does it still pay the bill? Does it fund your lifestyle or your commitment to your responsibility? So I think that's kind of like the most important thing. But there are many jobs now that do offer that flexibility, even office jobs, right, that offer that flexibility. So if something like you're into health care but don't want to do the traditional, like maybe, I see a lot of people now going into that personal training, lifestyle coaching, all of these things. And in this world that we are in, this is something that's becoming very, very, very popular, especially within Gen Z. I think in millennials as well. So there'll be opportunities there that it doesn't have to be 9 to 5. You can choose the time that you want, or even after your 9 to 5, you can go and do it. If you're interested in travel, you want to be doing like air hostess or flight attendants or tour guides, there are opportunities there like that you can look at. If you're into like cooking or creative work, there are now many ways, but you have to ask yourself, look, does this fund my lifestyle, my responsibilities? If I have children, a family, is this going to support in that way? And are you equipped as well? Like, do you have the skills to be able to really do well within that? So, thank God that the time and the place that we are in, that it's not only 9 to 5, and there are many, many opportunities that offer that. But it does definitely require some discipline, and you have to check that whether it's able to fund the lifestyle that you need or you have.
Wow, that's a really good answer. Thank you very much for that. I just think as I was pondering in my head that what about people in the bank? I know now some banks they're folding out, they want you to do things yourself. As you said, that AI, everything is technology is just taking place. Replacing so many stuff. I'm just thinking that what about people working in the bank? I think some banks are still open and they have to do this 9 to 5. So there is no option. They have to go. As you said, that people need to know what they want, and I think it's even good as well to think about your future, especially when you want to start building a family, like a single person, or maybe you're a family person, then your kids are still young. Then you need to think about what you want. Wow, career.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It is a lot though. So what things do you think are in place for those children with disability and the desire to do great exploit despite their disability limiting them? Yeah, because or are there any option both in tech and any other employment background for those children with disability? Because there are so many disability kids, and some of them are creative. They like to use their hand to create something. Some that really, actually, there are so many broad disability, and some that have challenges with learning difficulties and all those stuff. So what other way can we navigate or what things can they put in place?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think the disability children, to my own understanding so far, is that most of them are still being trained in a bit traditional way. Not now that the technology is advancing, everybody is on the system. Yeah, I know they do watch something. Yeah, so what are the options for them?
Yeah, thank you. This is one that I was actually like, it's a hard one for sure, and one that I don't know if we've made a progress as a society, as a nation. I think I'd love us to have. I do love that there is so much more awareness now. Like, send children versus maybe 10, 15 years ago where it was such a taboo. And now that it's something that is spoken about in schools and that they are, special, like education, training, teaching for them, the awareness, I believe, is going up to it has a ripple effect now on companies, on organizations, and so on and so forth. So it still is very nascent, but now it is something that is spoken about very openly, organizations, families, companies. And so I do believe that we're getting better when it comes to that, and it's not like it was before. Wow. I think two ways, like the physical kind of disabilities, and then I'd say maybe the psychological disabilities. I maybe separate them. For those that have maybe physical or are differently abled, let's say, the challenge there is just more about accessibility. It's not being able to do the work. So actually in the company that I work for, there are a number of differently abled employees there, but a company offers things like working from home so that they can still use their brilliant minds, their engineers, researchers, data scientists. They can use their brilliant minds to further the work, but it's not about having to leave their home to get to the office because it's difficult. So I think that companies responding to this is really, really important, and many of them are. Honestly, many of them are. So I think that's the first thing when it comes to those who are differently abled from a physical point of view. Then those, like you mentioned this already, they also, the minds are so brilliant, and they are jobs that they can do. The challenge, though, I think is really real. So things like you said, the creatives, working as in creative arts, in design technology. I've even seen things like, teachers, journalists, there are a lot of opportunities sort of for them that can be given in that way. But I do think that it is something that we have to just continue to create a lot of awareness for, so that companies are not, they're very aware and they're not stereotyping against, because they are very, very brilliant minds. We just need to open doors for those opportunities. And so we just pray that the governments, our society, different groups will continue to raise awareness of this, because whatever taboo was there to render that, there's no opportunities, it is a lie. Create these opportunities, but they are, researchers, very, very creative work that you have said. But I think it's still quite nascent, and we're quite early in this development.
Wow. That's good anyway. Awareness, that's the most important thing, awareness. Yeah. I remember this question I'm going to ask. I know you mentioned a little bit when we first started from I think the second question, you did cover a little bit part of it, when you said people can go to trade fair and all the stuff. But I'm just going to bring it out again, because I remember when we were going to secondary school. Yeah, when we're going to secondary school, because I entered secondary school in 1988. You're looking at me. Oh dear, I'm still young. So what about people that enter in 1979, 80? So I should have said that, because I know some of my friends are going to listen to this. Some of my uncle in ministry. Yeah. You're still young. Yeah. By that time we finished uni 88. Anyway, so I remember when we were going into secondary school, one or two colleagues, I would say, or classmates, they said, oh, they don't have this knowledge, so they went into trading and all those stuff. And we know now that life is, the age we're living in, the era things keep changing, expounding, unlike the olden days whereby you just say, okay, from secondary school. I know it's happening in UK as well. Some people, when they finish their GCSE, they say they're done. They just enter into maybe Tesco or go to McDonald's and start doing checking in and checking out and all those stuff. So people What about people not bookish? And now the way things are changing, because sometimes when I see that, I say, wow, we have to be catching up as well. You understand? I remember one of my, she's a coach to me anyway, and she's a big auntie too. And then she said, you know what? Every time I go to my TikTok, I say, wow, another thing has come out. I will start running. I say, these kids of this day, I will start running and running and running after them. And I said, no, I must get to the root of this new thing that came out this yesterday. So what about people that are not bookish and they left school, maybe they didn't even bother doing A-level, going to college or uni, or doing other things, they just went to learn hairdressing and that's it, all they know. And even with hairdressing, even though you say you're hairdresser, you're this, you still need to know this technology the way it is. So
yes, exactly that. That's exactly it. I think the truth is times are changing now. Times are changing now, and it is not only the traditional education where people are doing well. Like that is almost that is a course you can go down that way, you can get the job. But there are also many opportunities, and many of these jobs they are well paid. But I think that within each, it's important to kind of learn that trade. So even if you're not bookish from an educational or academic point of view, you have to be able to sort of learn that trade, and you can learn it through apprenticeships. You can through courses. So a lot of these jobs that I'm seeing now, like gas engineers, like these, they're very like high in demand,
wow.
They work in deployment and they move around, and I don't know how like their structure of pay is, but they they get paid. Those who come to your home if something
through the electricity.
It's not you can do that necessarily without like book study, mechanics, beauticians, beauticians and social media now. Like I'm like, man, I wish I went and learned this skill. Like they even call them estheticians. I think that's the new way that is coming. There's someone that I know, she's actually, her degree is in engineering. She learned a lot of like the like beauty, like eyebrows and like fillers. And the way she did it, she did a week or 2 week of course. And now, even though she's still pursuing her degree, her life, I think her career actually is this now. And she's doing so well, having gone and done a course and then using her hands. And so there are a lot of opportunity. And obviously she has a social media account. It looks amazing. And everybody wants to be part of that. So knowing what you're doing, having a great social media following, that can drive your business forward as well. So honestly, when I was thinking about this, like the truth is times are changing now. And it's not only the traditional course or traditional academic that opens doors for people. That opens doors for people. Pardon me, my phone was ringing. But there are many ways. But I think the most important thing, you can't do that without learning. You have to be disciplined about learning the skills of the trade, learning how things are done so that you're a master of something. And then we do pursue it in whichever way that you want, but there are many opportunities to do that. But it's not an excuse for idle or lazy hands. You still
failure. No excuse for failure.
Not an excuse for that at all.
Yeah, it's good to be handy though. It's good to have something creative, doing something, because I think God has created each and every one of us with something. Yes. Because it's not only school, because we know that a lot of people, even though they ended their education from primary 6 or year 6, we call it in UK, year 6. And a couple people back home that they didn't bother to go to secondary school at all. They just ended. So I'm just thinking about those people. That was why I brought these non-bookish people. Because at least even the people that went to secondary school, and we know how secondary school is like that, you still have to do a lot as if you are even in A level, or this GCSE. So the technology aspect is part of their life. But what about people that from primary school they're done? Yeah. Even some people, they stopped at maybe year 8. Yeah. And they didn't further. So those ones I'm just thinking about that. Those are the people in the category of non-bookish.
Yes, I see.
You understand. So anyway, I said that technology is there. They know how to hold their phones. So if they can learn how to use phone, they should be able to see things going on YouTube. Even now, people that doesn't know how to cook, you can go on YouTube and learn how to cook.
And start something. Exactly. So you can acquire knowledge in that way. You're right. And I was only thinking of it from my immediate society, which is, here in the UK in 2024, but different parts of the world is very, very different. Yeah. I think that same thing that we're saying is that if you're not bookish, but they're not opportunities where you've grown up that don't have a lot of opportunity, like don't have, you have to really think about what are the routes that I can take to earn a living if I'm not. Look at other people that have gone through that route, or see what you can actually create through technology, through access to information yourself. Yeah, it's depending on where you are. I think you have to. That will look a bit different.
Well, yeah. The other one, I think you mentioned a little bit, but I'm still going to bring it up.
Yeah.
As I said, how do you see the comparison between apprenticeship, university, and traditional trade learning? How can students lacking advanced education enhance their skills and knowledge? For instance, students who discontinue their education after GCSE or A level. So we're looking at how do you see the comparison between apprenticeship, university, and traditional trading. Okay, let me just elaborate a little bit. I remember this, last year, a lot of students were thinking of going into apprenticeship. And people say that because when you go to uni, you don't have the experience in the workplace. So people think that apprenticeship is even more better than you going to uni, because there's a more disadvantage about you going to uni, and because when you're doing apprenticeship, you are learning and you're studying, and you have bigger platform by the time you finish than people coming out from university. Then what about traditional trading, that like a mechanic down the road? I just took somebody, maybe, okay, you little boy, go and start learning how to repair a car. Instead of you going to college and learning in a good way and get a certificate, you just go, okay, that mechanic in the workshop, they just go, this is a little boy, where's the manager? Okay, I want him to start learning how to do mechanic. So how can students be lacking advanced education enhance their skills and knowledge?
Yeah. So I think that, first of all, the starting point is not which route of education should I go. The starting point of that scenario is, what is it do I want to do?
Okay.
Once you know what it is that you want to do, then you work backwards to say, what do they expect? There's some roles, some jobs, and I think I might be making this up, but maybe like an accounting as an example. It may not necessarily be a degree, but it could be a qualification, the ACCA, to get that. In that case, then the question there be, if I am very, very sure that I want to be an accountant and I see a role for me in the next 5-10 years with all of the technological and the AI advancements, what are they looking for specifically, and position yourself to go that way. If you want to be a doctor, there's no way around it. You have to go to medicine school. You have to go, you have to get all of these. So I think the most important thing is that with this, for those who know what you want to do, the starting point has to be, what are the requirements? And then you work backwards. And really and truly, there's some jobs that will say, I want to see a degree, and I want to see work experience, and I want to see some travel. It's very difficult. Then it's really tough, but then you can, work on one or the other. So I think it's just very important, like, know what you want, research, research, do everything that I mentioned sort of before, so that you are then in a position to do that, whether it's, a degree or an apprenticeship or in the trade. And I think just, again, the most important thing with that is that you go on to it and then you learn it. And the times that we're living in, at least in the UK and at least in 2024, 25 onwards, is that there is so many more opportunities and flexibilities for that. The only thing that is you have to kind of think about with that is, if you learn a specific trade, that's the very trade that you have learned, which means it could be very hard to move into something else if 5-6 years later you realize that it's not what you want. So you also have to ask yourself at the start, like, is this something like this? Is this truly the career that I want to be in for the rest of my life? And it's worth not going to university, because obviously university, you learn a discipline, but you learn many elements of it and all the soft skills that come out of it as well. So that's the kind of trade-off that you have to ask yourself. But the most important thing is to think about what it is that you want to do, what the requirements are, and then go that way, as opposed to saying, I don't want to do university, but I want to be a doctor. That's not going to work,
It's not gonna work, no.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you very much. So, considering your experience and past as a university student, I know it's been a while you left university. Oh, dear me. Things have changed.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
So, what are the effective strategies for university students to manage their finances and graduate without huge debt. I was reading, was it Times newspaper? Was it last year? Sometimes last year. And this young, beautiful lady like you, she said she's got about 250,000 debts, university debts. Although she did a master's, she did a PhD.
Wow.
So that 250, I look at it and say, wow, this money is able to buy you property.
Honestly,
so considering your experience and as a past university student, what are the first strategy for university students to manage their finance and graduate without huge debts?
Yeah.
Because a lot of students are into, even those in university at the moment, they're still struggling.
Yeah.
To meet up.
That's tough. That's tough. It's such a tough one. And fortunately, when I was in university, we had seen an increase, but the increase was nothing compared to what we're seeing today. And like, I cannot do this and come out with such a huge debt as well. So for first thing for me, there were a couple of things I was thinking about. First thing is really budgeting. And I cannot emphasize that enough. This is going to be very important in life when you start working, when you have, whatever your life trajectory may be. Budgeting. So before you start, assess how much your living expenses is going to be. If you're getting a loan, if you're getting bursaries, grants, whatever it may be, what are all of the expectations that you need in terms of your outgoings? What will be a decent amount that you need to live by to reduce the debt? So I think just being really, really diligent about how much debt you want to minimize, how you want to live, and being very, very disciplined about how much you do spend on a regular basis. This is what I did. I gave myself, and this is a long time ago, but I was like £50 a week. And every single week I was like, I cannot exceed that. Obviously after paying my rent and everything like that. And I had to live by that. So that didn't exceed anything. So budgeting is the first thing that is very, very important. So number two, there are actually a lot of grants that are offered to people who maybe are low income earners, or who can show that actually, look, by coming to university, even with the grant, even with the loan, even with the living expenses, whatever I've been given, I'm still going to be under. And these grants, they can apply for it through like third-party government organizations or through their university as well to help supplement or to reduce the debt. It's still very important that when you have that grant, you don't just take it and go spend it on shopping or, going out, but you add it to your life and you're very disciplined about that. So applying for grants and for help in that way. I know my expectation was probably from those who have to take a loan, maybe not necessarily those who may have help from their parents. So this is the angle of which I'm answering the question. Obviously, if you have your parents that can support you as well, that would be really useful and that would be a good way. Another way is to combine if there are those who are on campus, because living on campus is also very expensive. So maybe combine, if you can, living on campus for 1 year, then year 2, year 3 living at home, which will help to reduce the living costs. And you still have the experience of university, but then you can sort of save a little bit in terms of your outgoings and your costs as well. So combine living at home if you can, if your parents are in the same vicinity or family and the same vicinity as where your university is. Or you can get a part-time job as well. So I know that can be distracting to the course that you're doing, but having that additional income could help a great deal in reducing the debt that you have as well. So if that's something that you are able to do, I'd encourage you to do so. Negotiate the hours and the time that you need, but making sure that you've got something to help. So maybe these are some of the things to consider if you're trying to manage debt.
Well done, Gladys. Well done. I think discipline, as you said, it's good to be disciplined as well as a student. Because students, they want to party, some want to party, clubbing and all those stuff, and they want to wear designer. Don't worry, student, listen to me. You're going to wear designer, but finish your course. Don't come out with huge there, because I've seen students, they struggle a lot. Even the new one in year 1, they're saying they don't have money. I was like, how will you not have money? What about the one the government?
You got to manage your debt. You got to manage your income. Yeah,
and there was it. Actually, I was going. I can't even remember where I was going to, and I think I was in a shopping mall, and a guy was on the phone. He's an adult though, and overhead I was hearing him saying on the phone that my daughter is not going to go to university. And because I don't know him, I was just putting shop in my car. And he was saying that my daughter is not going to university. And he was saying on the phone, because it was a bit loud, like me, like this, and it was like, because the debt is too much, because even the grants they are getting is too much, and by the time they come back, so there is no point. He's just going to go from A level and go to work. I was like, Anyway, as we said, you've been saying this, that it depends on what the person wants.
Yeah.
So there is always different routes to go by where they want to go to. It's not only one route that leads to London. You can come we can come to London through Gatwick Airport. You can come through City Airport. You can come through Heathrow. You can come to Stansted Airport. Not far from me. So anywhere, you can still arrive to where you're going, because like we said, that apprenticeship, a lot of people are really considering that because they know that they're getting paid, and they're not. But sometimes people still need to go to university, and because there are so many courses, so many things that people want to do, that they still have to go. And if the course is not because of the debt, because it's, even sometimes when I look at students with debt, some people will graduate with £80,000, 100 and something thousand pounds, and I'll be looking and say, oh my days, because that's a good thing to start your life. I think students that will be listening to this is that just budget, like Gladys said, you see, budget and be disciplined. Be disciplined. All you want is going to come when you graduate.
You get a good job, you can enjoy, all of that will come.
Exactly, all of that will come. I remember, you're still going to pay the money. It's not free. It's like you're spending your credit card.
My goodness.
People, when they have credit card, they spend the money as if it's their money, and now the interest is going to be going up and down. So debt. Yeah, unlike back home, is like, who is going to give you money? It's your parents, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah. The other question which I have for you is that what are your thoughts on parents choosing their children's career paths instead of letting them follow their own dreams? So years I've seen parents, even when we're growing up, that they'll say, oh, I want my son to go and study law because their friend's son is a lawyer or doctor or engineer. So what are your thoughts on parents choosing their children career paths, and instead of that, let them follow what for them to do? What are your thoughts?
Oh, and I'm speaking, I am not a parent, so just pardon me if I do say anything.
Don't worry, very soon. You too, you'll be joining the club.
Let me say, so, I don't mean to, whatever I say, I'm just saying it as from the child's point of view. So
okay.
That way. So I think, first of all, the question I would ask is, as a parent, what are your intentions for, what is your desire for having your child do that job? And I think, like you mentioned just now, it is really important they ask themselves that. Is it because they want you to show off, to their friends, or say, my child is this, my child is that? And is that really the best intention for your child? Obviously, parents, your number one is intention for your child, for them to do well. But I think it's important you ask yourself, really and truly be honest with yourself about that question, first thing. And then the second thing is, look at your child as well. Children from a young age, they are very independent, they are very focused, and they know exactly what they want to do. Forcing them to do something outside of their will can be very, very problematic, and it can cause a lot of challenges. So know your child. Some of them, they know exactly what they want, and then others, they need more help. So I think where you step in could be those who that you probably see, oh, I think you're making the really wrong choice, truly, because I know you flip from one to another, or I know this industry you're going to is not very safe. So I think look at your child and see the kind of support and guidance that they need before you go into it. And then I think for those who are independent, who know what they want, supporting them, encouraging them, praying with them, praying for them, and you as a parent as well. Like, it's important to be knowledgeable. Like, all these things that your young people are doing, parents also be knowledgeable as well. What role is AI playing? What are the roles that are not going to exist in 10 years? What are the roles that are going to exist in 10 years? And also encourage your children to go to trade shows, to go to networking events and all of those things, so that they can learn and be assured about it. And then for those, for the children who, as a parent, it might make sense to help guide, them in terms of their career. I don't believe and choosing you should be a lawyer, just go for it. You can present options for them. Look, this is what I think you are going to be good at. You're very good at talking, you're very good at defending yourself. I think you'd be an excellent lawyer. Let me help you with that. Is this kind of conversation I think that it will have. But listen to your child as well. Listen to them. No, mom, I don't want to be a lawyer. I don't want to do 9 to 5. This is what I like. This is what. And so I think engaging in an honest conversation with your child around what they are good at, what they enjoy doing, where they see themselves in the next 10 years, and actually helping and coaching them as a parent, coaching them in that. But it's so important to have a conversation with them. It is so important to also listen to them, and then with that, to you yourself, I think we'll learn and know. Okay, let's work together, and let me direct you in this way. But saying this is what you have to do, just go and do it. Even if your children will listen and go on to that, it may not always be the best. I know people who they've said, oh, if it wasn't for my parents that told me to do this, I probably wouldn't be doing it. And they're in this profession now. I don't necessarily believe they're necessarily happy, but that's what they're doing. And so, and it could be the other way as well. So also think about that. If your children are 5-10 years later, they're in the role that you've made them to do, but they're not happy, like how would that make you feel? And so I think it's important that you just engage in that, guide them, know what your child is like, and where they need support, guide and support them in that way. And for those who are very independent, continue to pray for them and just support them when they need that. So that's how I think about it.
Wonderful. That's really wonderful, because I was just thinking of this example, a guy as well, that the parents said, go and study medicine. And he said, okay, that's fine. Went to study medicine, came back, did very well. And he said, Daddy, Mommy, this is your certificate. I'm not going back to uni to do my own. Yeah. So parents, as see, my wonderful guest has nailed it on the head. And it's like, what parents, I think when it comes to career, we should allow our children to do what they desire to do. Yeah, except the children, because there are some children that are a bit confused. Yeah. Now, like what my guest is saying, that now we need to sit down. What are they good at? You understand? Because some children, they don't even know they are good at something until when you start mentoring them, coaching them, and saying, no, you can do this. You are so creative. You are so this. You can talk. You can this. You can write. You are a good. They now start saying, wow, I'm good at this, and that will really help them. So, I mean, thank you so much, Gladys. It's been a wonderful time to host you. And I really enjoyed this discussion, and I know it's going to help people out there, especially university, both the current and the one going into it now and beyond. So it's not only about this, and hopefully by the grace of God, we're going to be looking at employments. Yeah, because we're looking at career choices, and now today is me and my career. So thank you once more for joining me this morning, and we shall see again.